Hello there. My name is Sonia. This is Sonia with an I, and today I am bringing you a cozy springtime playlist. Springtime is knocking on the door, and spring is such a wonderful time to be cozy. It is a cozy season. It may not have the cold coziness of winter that makes you want to grab that blanket and drink that hot chocolate. And it doesn't have the cozy colors of fall and the pumpkin picking, apple cider, all of that. But spring really does have a lot of cozy elements. And today I want to share those with you with kind of creating a playlist or just some suggestions of things that you can do in the springtime to celebrate coziness, to slow down a bit, have some hygge moments, and just really enjoy and romanticize the season of spring. Now, I will say that springtime is a favorite. I love all the seasons. I'm a seasonally driven person. I do love all the seasons. Summer is probably my least favorite, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big fan of being hot. But springtime has sort of a comfort of its own. Now, of course, we think about the beautiful blooms that come in the springtime. We think about, the flowers blooming, the new life that's coming into the world with animals, and you wake up one morning and you're so used to the ground being brown and grays, and the hills start to grow green, at least in my community. So these are things that I look forward to seeing. With spring, there is a coziness, and I'd like to share some of the activities that I do to kind of celebrate the coziness or romanticize the coziness of spring. The very first thing I do, of course, is I read. Reading is a wonderful spring activity. Reading springtime books, reading books that have a spring theme, or reading a book outside when the spring weather is, when the weather is nice, or in front of an open window when the breezes are coming through, or reading in a garden. One of my favorite things that I used to do when I lived in St. Louis was to go to the botanical gardens and sit and just read a book. I read the whole Twilight series in the botanical gardens in springtime because it was just a lovely place to do that. And you have the beauty around you, the nature around you, and the sounds. You can probably hear some of the birds right now. It's just a lovely experience. So with reading, I do have some books that I feel like have a really great springtime theme and that are really enjoyable to read in the springtime. So I'm going to have to put on my goggles here. That's so much better. I can actually see. The first that I have is a cozy mystery. If you have watched my channel any bit at all, you know that this is one of my favorites. It's Susan Whitting Albert's The Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter. These give me springtime vibes, even though not all of them are springtime. The first book in the series is called, oh my goodness, I'm having The Tale of Hilltop Farm. How can I not know that? It gives me spring vibes. This one, The Tale of Holly Howe, as you can see from the picture. Let's see if we can get that in there. This picture gives me springtime vibes. The Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter follows our gal, Beatrix Potter, after her fiance has passed, and she goes and buys a farm in the country, and she gets to know all the folks in the country, and the animals that she uses for her books and some other animals that are in the country where she lives are help her to solve mysteries. But they don't talk to the humans, they talk to each other, but they always set them up. It is the most cottagecore, cozy, cuddle up, just the sweetest. I absolutely love it. Not all the mysteries are murder, which I like that too. Sometimes the mystery is, one of them that sticks with me all the time is trying to find the parents of a baby that's been abandoned, trying to find something that was stolen. So it's mystery, but it's not always murder mystery. So Susan Whitting Albert also has her Darling Dahlias they're all flower or plant, botanical themed. I think those would be great for springtime too, but I can't recommend them because I haven't read them. I've just read this. The next springtime book that I would suggest is, if you want to go back to middle grade a little bit is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh makes me think of springtime. This whole back that I have going on here, inspired by Winnie the Pooh totally. Because I think of, grabbing Granny's quilt and a basket and going outside and having picnics and having a party and a parade. When you were a kid, you did all of those things, and that's very much what Winnie the Pooh does for me. And springtime is all about, like, the rebirth and new, and everything. And I feel like reading something from your childhood kind of brings that out. Winnie the Pooh was one of my favorite stories when I was a kid. I loved these stories. Kingo was my favorite character. It just was, it's such a beautiful remembrance, I guess, of childhood, but also just, really cute stories. I would suggest anytime reading Winnie the Pooh if you're looking for a springtime kind of theme read. Now, this is a new book, but I feel like that this is really springtime, though I feel like it really got pushed in the fall. I really think that this is a springtime vibe, and that's The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a fantasy. Some people classify it as romantasy. I thought the romance was really, really super light. This is a 5-star read for me. It is a favorite. I probably will reread this. I don't reread books, but I loved this story. It is about a librarian who has to escape where she lives, and she ends up going back to where she was raised and then building community. And it's just beautiful. I mean, this cover is gorgeous. If this to me does not scream springtime, I don't know what does. And another book that is more kind of a humorous book is Finding Zelda by Sue Ann Jafarian. This book is about a dysfunctional family and how Zelda deals with her dysfunctional family. This has laugh out loud moments. It is not light. There are some heavy subjects, but it really, really is. I giggled through the whole thing. And your girl, her name is featured in this book. Sue Ann Jafarian had a contest and to, use your name as a book character. And I am Grandpa's girlfriend. This is a great book. I really loved it. If you like humor, it does have some cursing in it. It does have, but it has, I think that there's some recreational usage. But the book was hysterical, and I laughed through it. I love Sue Ann Jafarian. Sue Ann Jafarian writes the Odelia Gray mysteries. She writes the Granny's Apple mysteries. She's a wonderful author, one of my favorites, and I was very blessed to be in this book. And if you've not read this, you should pick it up, especially if you love a good giggle. And to me, it's just the dysfunctional family. I don't have to say anything. The next book that I have is a middle grade book, and one that I used to read to my students every year. And it's also when my students give me, if they send me like graduation announcements, I always gift them this book. And it is The Mysterious Journey of Edward Tulane by Kate D. Camillo. The story is about Edward, who is a stuffed rabbit, but he lives in a very posh house and has a very posh life until one day he doesn't. And his journey and his connections that he makes along the way. I think it's a beautiful springtime read. It is a wonderful book too if you have children, to read with your children. It was one of my favorite reads to do with my students because it really it builds empathy. It starts conversations. It just is, it's so much more than just a book about a stuffed rabbit. It just really is a lovely, lovely book, and I very much enjoyed it. Some picture books that I like to read with some of my students too. One of my favorites to read in the springtime would be The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. It talks about conservation and how waste is hurting the planet, and it really is, Earth Day is in the springtime, and it's just a wonderful read as well. Another that I like to read is my mother's favorite book, and it's The Velveteen Rabbit. The Velveteen Rabbit is about a story of another toy rabbit who finds out, just goes on a little life journey to be real. And it even makes me emotional just talking about it. It is an emotional book, but it's a very lovely one. Another cozy mystery that I absolutely think that is total springtime vibes is the Chatty Corgi series by Jennifer Hawkins. The Chatty Corgi series is, I don't know if it's the cover, I don't know if it's the English countryside, but it definitely gives me spring vibes. The main character's name is Emma, her dog's name is Oliver, and Emma and Oliver solve mysteries, and Oliver speaks to Emma, but Emma's the only one that understands him. It really is a cute series. It only has 3 books in it, but it's a great, like if you like to finish series, it's a great little series to read. 5 stars for me, the whole series. And my very last book is my most favorite book ever on the planet, and has been since I was in high school, and that is Watership Down by Richard Adams. Watership Down is, I have a thing for rabbits if you can't tell, but Watership Down is about a group of rabbits who have to leave their warren because of construction. And you know, the author has stated in interviews that this doesn't have any social commentary, it's just a story about rabbits. I don't know how that's possible, because you could very well just replace the rabbits and turn them into humans, and it would be very much a human story. But it is about their journey. I don't know, maybe I have a thing about journeys because Edward Tulane is about a journey too. But this warren of rabbits, their journey through trying to find home. And this book is lovely. It is, so many people I know have just watched the cartoon and was traumatized by it when they were a kid. If you have never read the book, please read the book. It is worth reading. Now, this is this is a child's book. No, I don't think this is a child's book. I think some of the content in this is, I don't know, for kind of adult analyzing, is really, because it does make you think about society and how humans treat other humans, and it's just the best book. Hazel is the main character, and Hazel is in charge of moving all of the rabbits to safety. His brother is small, and his name is Fiver, and Fiver has a lot of anxiety and struggles, and Hazel is trying to be a good leader, but also be a good brother to Hazel, or to Fiver. And I just love this story. Love it. It's my absolute favorite book on the planet. It's, you know, as much, some people could just read, that's all you could do for spring is just read, and that's great. You celebrated spring. But if you want some other ways that you can celebrate spring, I have a few suggestions. One of them is to either go to a coffee shop and try a new spring flavor. You know, a lot of places have lavender, or they have lemon, not in coffee though, lemon wouldn't be great, but a strawberry, something like that, you know, or make your own drink at home. You know, find a herbal tea that has kind of a spring either color or theme, like a hibiscus or some sort of floral that maybe you're not used to trying, you know, and you know, put it in your favorite cup, or if you have a springtime cup, and you know, just enjoy a good cuppa. Also, another wonderful activity to do in springtime is to put together a springtime puzzle. A lot of people feel like puzzles, you know, you can get big puzzles. Like I chose this one. It's 1,000 pieces. I've been holding on to this for spring because I want to do this, but I wanted to do it in the springtime. So do a theme puzzle. Now, you don't have to do 1,000-piece puzzles. Maybe you don't have the space or the table room, or maybe you don't have the time. Well, there's something that I've seen in stores a great deal lately, like in bookstores and things, that seems to be trending pretty hard, and it's mini puzzles. Now these puzzles come in like vacuum sealed bags, and they're usually 50 pieces. I actually received this from my friend Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books, and this is a puzzle book, and it has puzzles in it. So they're little, like, these are like little under 50, but the little springtime, they're fun to put together. If you know, you need to take a 20-minute break, grab something to drink, and put together a little puzzle and just have a little, you know, you time. I think these are great for that. You don't have to go and buy puzzles new if you don't want to spend the money. I bought this one at a thrift store, and this one was gifted. So they don't have to cost a ton. I know puzzles brand new are very expensive. If you look at thrift stores or whatnot, you could find something, you know, that's not going to bust your pocketbook. Also, something in the springtime that you could do is to take a mindful walk. And what's a mindful walk? I think that I mentioned this in my fall favorites, cozy things, but one of my favorite things to do in the springtime is just to walk and kind of go on a scavenger hunt. Like, how many things can I see? You know, how many flowers can I see? Or how many squirrels do I see? Because many times we get to, you know, we start walking, whether you know, you walk for exercise, you walk for just kind of getting rid of mental cobwebs, you know, or just to look around. And even in your own neighborhood, if you know, you could, if it's safe there, you can walk there and kind of just look around, do a mental scavenger hunt. Like, today I'm going to look for squirrels, or today I'm going to look for flowers, and be mindful of your walk. So many times we get to go in with, you know, at least myself, I can only speak for myself, but in my own brain, many times when I'm walking, I'm sitting there thinking of my to-do list. I need to go, you know, I need to do the dishes. I need to put this away. I need to, you know, I need to go pick up the medicine. All of these things, and I'm not enjoying the moment. I'm just making my laundry list of things. So yes, I'm getting like my exercise and some fresh air, my medicine, as grandma would say, but I'm not being mindful. Be truly mindful in your walk. If you can, if you can walk. If you can't walk, you know, just sit outside if you can. Get outside. Enjoy the spring weather, you know, cloud gaze. You know, if you can sit somewhere, look up and cloud gaze. You know, when I was a kid, we used to lay on the grass, look at the clouds and see what they look like. That looks like a rabbit. That look, you know, do something though that is mindful, that you have a task and you are fully immersed in it. Also, something I like to do is I like to go to a park or an open field somewhere, and I like to just sit down and write what I see. Actually, I have a an old notebook that looks it's not old, but it looks old, and I usually use my pen and ink and do it just because it's something different. It makes it fun, and being mindful and enjoying your atmosphere around you will bring you coziness. And it's a cozy activity that you can do, and it doesn't even cost you any. It doesn't cost you a dime, except maybe the gas if you drive somewhere. So I would suggest that if you want to really enjoy spring and you want to have your cozy moments. If you, okay, there's going to be a pause or a start in there. Something else that I like to do is, you know, do a cozy hobby that is spring themed. One of my favorite cozy hobbies is I like to color. If you are friends with me on Instagram or even watched any of my other videos, you see that I love to color. You know, color a springtime, you know, picture. Or if you want to spend a little money, you know, if you want to buy a new coloring book, buy a springtime themed coloring book. Do a cozy activity that is spring themed. If you like to make cards, make a spring themed card. If you like to crochet or knit, do something with springtime colors. You know, some sort of cozy hobby that brings you joy. Another thing that I like to do in the springtime is I like to play a cozy springtime game. And this game, this is Everdale. It starts in the spring, and you have to build a community. You are a woodland creature, and you have to build a community. And this is a very springtime cozy game that brings me a lot of joy. This game is very expensive. We borrowed it from the library. Check your library if you don't want to buy games or even puzzles. Many libraries will rent out those things like they do books. And you can check them out and do them and then give them back, and you don't have the clutter of another thing or the expense of buying it. Another favorite thing to do in the springtime for me is to bake. I love to bake, another cozy hobby, and I love to bake with seasonal fruits, strawberries, lemons, raspberries. Those things to me kind of just say, I'm spring. Springtime is here. And, I love strawberries anyway, so I am really looking forward to strawberry season. If you could or can or have accessibility to, go to a strawberry patch. Pick some strawberries. Just, doing the things that are spring related helps you to romanticize it, enjoy it, be mindful of it. Another thing that I really love to do in the springtime is to watch movies, like watch springtime themed movies. Maybe, because sometimes it rains in the springtime and I can't always be outside. Watching a springtime movie is a really satisfactory way to be cozy, enjoy the season, and still not have to depend upon the weather to do so. Some of my favorite springtime cozy movies are Arrietty. It is a Studio Ghibli movie that is based upon the books The Borrowers, and I just adore it. It's so visually beautiful. I love Studio Ghibli anyway, and just about most of his movies kind of have a springtime vibe. My Neighbor Totoro is another one that has very spring vibes. When Marnie Was There has more spring vibes. If you have never watched a Studio Ghibli movie, it's, many people think, well, it's cartoony. It's not. They're not only made for kids. They are very relatable as adults too. They just happen to be animated. And Arrietty is probably, well, Carol Burnett does one of the voices in it, which I love Carol Burnett. And it's just so visually beautiful, and then a wonderful story as well. Another another movie that I absolutely love to watch in the springtime is Finding Neverland. Finding Neverland is a take on the author of Peter Pan's younger life when he is writing the play and trying to get published. And Johnny Depp plays the main character, and I adore that movie. It is one of my favorites, and it feels so youthful and springy, and just spring is a spring in this movie, and I absolutely love it. Another one that I absolutely love is Beatrix Potter. It's the live, live action, I guess. I don't know. It is just a movie of the life of Beatrix Potter. It has Renee Zellweger in it, and it's just delightful. It has all the springtime vibes and the Peter Rabbit, how it just is really, really a great movie, and it very much gives me spring, kind of spring feels. There is another one that I really love to watch is Wind in the Willows, even though it is kid and it is cartoon, but I don't know, it makes me giggle, like Frog makes me giggle, and it's just delightful. A great little, just a great little, sometimes it's nice just to sit and watch a short something and just have a great little experience with that. Another favorite thing to do to get myself in the mood for spring and just to really fully embrace it and enjoy it, but also make my home cozy, because, your environment has a lot to do with your enjoyment. And, when you live in a home, when you're surrounded by things that you truly love, it does bring a cozy element to your life and makes it more enjoyable. And one of the things that I really love to do is to, put some spring decorations in my home. Now, that doesn't mean I have to go rush to, TJ Marsh home tar goods, where I'm talking about. I don't have to rush onto there or go rush onto the online shopping and go and purchase things for my home. What I like to do, and just to not only, conserve my money fiscally, but to also, not fill up the landfills with things that I'm only going to like a year or two and then get rid of, is I like to shop my own house. You might say, Sonia, what do you mean by that? Well, I will grab a handy dandy basket and walk through my house and pick up things that remind me of spring. Like what would be good for a spring decoration? And it might be based on color, or it might be based on design, or it might be an animal or a statuette or something. But I go through and shop my house first. This means that I shop not only the things that I can see, but I also go into my closet, go into my craft room, go into my storage space, and just go and shop and see what I have. There is absolutely, this is not a judgment call. There's absolutely nothing wrong that if you want to go to one of those stores and buy yourself something that makes you happy and put it in your home, you do you, boo. You go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. What concerns me a lot of times is I think that people, consumerism is pushed on us all the time. There's constantly advertisements for, the lobby and the TJs and all of this telling us that we need this stuff. You know that. So, but you really don't. You can take an old quilt, some things in your house, create yourself a cute little vignette, and you have springtime there, and it's cost you absolutely nothing. I like to shop thrift stores. I like to shop consignment stores. I actually used to work at a consignment store, and I will tell you the one thing that people brought in the most that sold the least was seasonal. People would get it, they would love it in the minute, and then take it, get rid of it the next season. So, if you don't want to spend that money, you can't spend that money. People, limited budget, or if you're saving for something, whatever your financial situation may be, shopping your own home doesn't cost you anything. You're not tapping on your billfold to, pay out. So that's another suggestion too, is just to shop your own home and see what you can find and create just one little space that's springtime. If, depending on the space of your home and allowance for that. So that's something that I actually really enjoy, is just because I have things I forget I have, or I have things that I see in one way that I've put it and don't think about, oh, this would be cute this way. That would be my suggestion. And this could be with, like your clothing, going through your closet and seeing if you can find some springtime things that make you feel good, that, make you want to dress for springtime. There's lots of ways to just do that. And I think shopping your own home is a great way to do that. I think that I've talked about all the things, my suggestions, and you will be seeing these in vlogs, I'm sure, because I can't wait to do these things. I love to create a bingo board, like a springtime bingo board, and I'll put a picture of one from Pinterest because I haven't created mine yet. But I love to create a springtime bingo board and then just, go through and check it off. It's a visual reminder to do that, but it's also, kind of fun to try to get a bingo. Let's see in the month of, in the month of March, can I get a bingo? Make some goals, do that. Just kind of makes it fun. So to end this video, really, the reason that I shared this is because celebrating the moment that we are in not only helps us to appreciate the lives that we have, but it also can bring us those small and tiny joys that we can all need and crave so badly. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you made it to the end, you are a real one. Please put a spring emoji into the comments if you don't have anything that you would like to talk about. And if you have something you would like to talk about, please feel free to share. Are you doing anything, or do you have any plans for the springtime? I would absolutely love to see that. You make the world a better place just by being a part of it. I appreciate you. I thank you. And until next time, happy reading. Goodbye now.